My kid called me on the phone. This was at the height of the pandemic. And they said, Mom, I have been reading that sleep apnea is a pre-existing condition for severe COVID. You should get tested. The way you snore, you could have sleep apnea and die. So, my kid worried. They were 24. It was just the two of us. Their dad died years ago. They didn't want to lose me, too. So I called my doctor. I got a referral, and I made an appointment for the test. But as the day for that test approached, I found myself looking forward to it. I hadn't gone anywhere during the pandemic. This would be like a little vacay. And I was thinking, like spa vibes, like long white bathrobes. And we patients would all get to know each other. I felt so alone. And, it would be so safe, right, because it was a medical establishment. So the night before the test, I stayed up all night, so I'd be really tired. Didn't drink any coffee that day. And then that night, I got in my car. I drove to my 9 p.m. appointment. The address was a tall, dark office building. The place looked abandoned. I took the elevator up to the 3rd floor, a long, vacant hallway. No signs for businesses on the doors. At the very end of the hall, number 342, it said the Sleep Center in teeny tiny letters. I pushed open the door. One man sat in a swivel chair, his back to me. He was facing a console of video screens. He spun around. He sprang to his feet. He was really short. He had a crew-cut, iron gray hair. He wore jeans, a navy blue shirt buttoned to the neck. He wore a black mask, as did I, because of the virus. He said, I'm Paul. Paperwork? I reached in my tote bag. I took out my completed forms, and I handed them to Paul. And he said, let's get started. I said, well, you get right to it. I used to be in the military. I followed Paul along a wide, dingy hallway. We were the only 2 people in the place. There were doors open along this hallway. Each room had a humongous bed, a flat-screen TV, and every television was airing the same episode of the old TV show, Gomer Pyle. And I said, oh my God, it's been a long time since I've seen that show. Yeah, we set all the television station there as Gomer Pyle, Green Acres, Gilligan's Island. Why? Well, patients find the show soothing, but all those actors are dead. No one thinks that. Here you go. Here was my room. It was the same as the others. The same big bed, TV, Gomer Pyle, but next to my bed, there was a cart with racks of wires and gadgets. I put down my bag. I sat down on the edge of the bed. Paul asked me to remove my mask. He put on latex gloves. He put this white goop on my face, on my scalp. He put on suction cups, electrodes. He put a strap around my chest, wires around my ankles, a clip on my finger. And the whole time he rattled off medical terms that had to do with heart rate, breathing, brain waves. Why'd you get into this line of work, Paul? The money. And you don't mind working nights? Not at all. I can't stand people. All right, now, if you gasp for air 9 times, I come in with a CPAP. If you need to use the restroom, press the white button on the bedside table. I'll come in and disconnect the wires. He went to the door. He turned out the television. He said, lights out. And he turned out the lights, and he went out. I lay back. I was so uncomfortable. All these wires and gadgets, that clip on my finger glowed red. There was a teeny tiny green light flashing up near the ceiling. The camera, I assumed. Paul was watching me. I fidgeted, my skin crawled. I checked the time on my phone every 15 minutes. I could feel every suction cup on my head. Were they pulsing? What kind of information was Paul gathering as he read my brainwaves? What kind of person took a job like this anyway? Control freak, voyeur, or worse? When Paul said he didn't like people, what do you mean by that? He said he was in the military. What did he do there? Why did he really set all the televisions to Gomer Pyle? Was he sitting there at the console watching me, laughing as Jim neighbors giggled in the background? Were there dials on these electrodes? Could Paul crank up the current coursing through my body? Even a tiny jolt of electricity could be fatal. I mean, if I died, what was he going to do? Throw my body in a building incinerator? Have somebody push my car off a cliff to throw the cops off the track? I think I'm just going to press that white button for Paul. I am just going to mumble some lame excuse. I'm just going to get the heck out of here. Any minute I'm going to do that. I'm going to press that button. I will do it. I will press it. I will press it. I could not press it. In my entire life, I deferred to authority. I followed the rules. My first job, no, this is true, my first job, I was a cashier in a diner, also in charge of takeout. And one day, there were 2 people waiting for their orders, a woman for a sandwich and a man for toast. And the woman's sandwich came, and she took it away to our office in a building next door, but the man's toast never came. And finally, my boss, Tina, like 4'11", stormed out of the kitchen and said, Vicky, the toast was in with the sandwich. Go get the toast. I did that. I did that. I ran after toast. I must have dropped out for a second because then I startled awake and I thought, I need to live. I need to be there for my kid. I pressed the white button. Moments later, there was Paul at the door. He turned on the light. I said, I am done. He said, I have enough information to make the assessment. Was I asleep long enough? Do I have sleep apnea? Did I come in with a CPAP? No. Well then, he undid the wires, and I went to my car, and I thought, well, my kid is going to be so happy. I took the test, and I don't have sleep apnea. Or did I? Was I ever asleep? Was the whole thing bogus? Well, so what? Because for the first time in my life, whether the danger was real or imaginary, I pressed the escape button.